factor. And in looking through the stats for today's game, the one I think our viewers might focus on is turnovers and takeaways. Suburban leads the league, not just Division II, but the league in turnovers, takeaways at +2. So turnovers could certainly be a factor, as they always are in today's game.
Well, Richard, get off. Handled back at the 10-yard line, Kevin Myers. Looking up the middle and brings it out near the 25-yard line, where the West York Delaware wing T will put it in play. Shannonbrook is the quarterback. Sheraton and Sam Miller in the backfield. Ignatius Musty, the flanker. Split end, George Margitas. And the FE, which is the flex end, Gary Johnson. Waltemeyer, Siders, Ludwig, Kramer, and Walters, the offensive line for the Bulldogs. First down, Sheridan in the backfield. Sam Miller, number 8, in the slot. And flags right away. Very much unlike last night, Craig.
Good ball. Full start. Offense.
Well, you certainly don't want to start the ball game that way by getting a penalty before the center ever snaps the football. But Shannonbrook up under center, and this is the Suburban defense that has been so takeaway oriented.
Travis Stewart, Orwig, Marashillian, and Lewis up front for the Trojans. Stewart, Evans, Mullen, Deal, Bowser, Zach Jackson, and Wilson Tarbert, the linebackers and defensive backs for York Suburban. The Bulldogs now with a 1st and 15. The counter give to Miller, and just not any running room, and you see a flag flying in there late again. Last night we didn't see our first flag to what, about the middle of the 3rd quarter. We've seen 2 and 2 plays, and the preliminary call is a face mask against York Suburban.
There you see the scoring by quarters. West York strong in the first half of all their ball games, but struggling late in the game.
That's an interesting stat, isn't it?
It is, and conversely, Suburban appearing to get stronger and scoring more in the second half than their opponents.
On the defense, we play second down.
Well, we're going to try second down again as the 15-yard penalty moves it up to about the 33-yard line. It'll be second down and 2, rather.
I kind of feel like we're sitting here idling in neutral.
Yeah.
I'm ready for a play. A good play, a positive game play.
Well, now we're going to have a meeting of the stripes.
I'm telling you what, these guys must expect a check from WSPC this week. Getting a lot of airtime early. Let's hear what he has to say, if anything.
First down.
Okay, it's still first down. That's right. There were 2 plays. Both were penalties. Okay, so it's 1st and 2. 3 wide receivers to the top of the screen, and Sheridan right up the middle. Picks up about 1. So it'll be second down and 1. There you see Sheridan's numbers, just about 5 yards per carry. And really, you think about 432 yards, and he had over 100 of those yards just last week against the Lone.
Okay, just a straight dive give here to Sheridan just to try to establish the game between the tackles. But on the year, West York struggling on the ground, 279 rushes for an average of about 34, 35 yards per ball game.
Second and 1. Shannonbrook looks to throw. Still has time. Flips it out to Miller, who makes the catch. Crosses the 45 out to the 47. And good patience that time by Shannonbrook, because it looked like his initial receiver wasn't open, and he held the ball and waited for Miller to break into the open. See Shannonbrook's numbers. 852 yards in the season, 153 attempts, which is quite a few.
Pretty good protection that time. You see the defensive back has his back turned. That's going to always be tough to know when to make your break on the ball. So Matt Stewart beating on that play, and West York getting a first down and able to sustain this early drive.
Up the middle for West York, and Travis Stewart in on the tackle. Pickup of 2.
I think I said West York averages 34 or 35 yards. I meant 34 or 35 carries per game for about 165 yards average per game.
Second down and 8 for the Bulldogs. Brian Faulkner out here to the near side, and the counter give to Sam Miller. Boy, and nothing doing is Dan Evans, number 49, one of the tacklers for York Suburban. So third down and 7, West York in an obvious passing situation. You see 87, George Margitas, bringing in the play from the sideline.
And this is a York Suburban defense that has intercepted 22 passes this year, Chris.
Blitz. Shannonbrook flushed out of the pocket, throws on the run, has a receiver. Ignatius Musty with the catch, down to the 36. We're going to see what the flags are all about. It almost looked like Suburban was offside, but I hate to call that one.
Motion on the offense.
Well, that's why they were offside, because West York had illegal motion.
Well, that was a fine pass, rolling to his left. I thought Shannonbrook showed great poise and threw the ball right in there. And so they are finding some early seams in the Suburban pass defense. Watch this. He's going to have to roll to his left and, as a right-hander, throw against or across his body, and a good catch. Ball thrown well to the outside.
And I think the important part there, Craig, was the fact that Shannonbrook got his shoulder squared to the line of scrimmage when he got ready to release the ball. But the motion penalty is going to take that all away, so now it's going to be third down and 12.
Well, Shannonbrook can see so much of the field at 6'6", 180.
Trying to get some pressure, good time. Flushed out of the pocket now, trying to get to the outside, and is brought down at the 47. Right about the original line of scrimmage, so it'll be fourth down for the Bulldogs.
And when you're coming towards the sideline on this field, you're really running downhill. When we talk about a high crown, we mean for drainage purposes, down the center of the field is higher than towards the sideline. So as you're coming here, you're coming slightly down on an angle, and you're, as I said, at 6'6", he's seeing a lot of the field, but good contained defense here by York Suburban to bring Shannonbrook down and force the punt.
Rick Wetzel in punt formation for West York. Good snap and almost blocked. Chronister and Zach Jackson were back. They're going to let it go for Suburban, and West York downs it at the 22. So it'll be first and 10 for York Suburban at their own 22, 7:31 to go here in a scoreless first quarter.
Well, if you're wondering how these teams have fared on offense, Suburban averages almost 23 points per ball game. West York almost 17. So at least on paper, it would appear that the offensive edge goes to Suburban. And as we've said up front, a lot of passing for this team this year.
And there's the offense: Beckley, Stewart, Evans, Jackson, Chronister, and Travis Stewart, the tight end for the Trojans. And the first play, the quick pitch back to Matt Stewart. Stewart trying to get to the outside, but West York there to bring down the Suburban back, number 87, George Margitas, on the tackle. Ganjami, Lewis Deal, Clinton Kerr, and Kyle Mullen, the offensive line for the Trojans. Second down and 9. 4 wide receivers this time for the Trojans. Beckley looking the quick out, has Stewart, and brought down right there, but it's going to be a Suburban first down. Tackle made by 82, Gary Johnson. Rob Ludwig, Waldemeyer, Notwell, and John Cedars up front for the Bulldogs. The secondary has Sam Miller, Jay Stein, Matt Sheridan, Justin Wilkins as the linebackers, Johnson, Margitas, the halfbacks, and Kevin Myers is the safety. So first and 10, out to the 34 for York Suburban. Pressure, and the pass, and there's our man, Zach Jackson, above the crowd to pull it in.
And see, there's a classic example of what Coach Milt Bushy was telling us before the game. He was pretty well covered. There were white shirts around there, but the ball was up in the air, and he wanted it more than anybody else that was around. Watch this. You know, Beckley getting some pressure. It's a pretty good throw, And look at this. He goes right up in the middle and comes down on top of the defender, number 34, Matt Sheridan.
One of the things that I remember last year about Zach Jackson in the game we did of theirs last season was that he's fearless going across the middle to catch the football.
Well, and if you're going to be a good receiver with a chance to play in college, that is a prerequisite.
Right.
On the offense, loss of down, second down.
Well, we were away from the play. I'm sure it was a correct call, but you know what? I'd never get upset with a receiver. That shows great aggressiveness early in the game, and it's just like an offensive rebounder in basketball. You're going to get an offensive foul going up hard for an offensive rebound. Don't get upset. Keep that aggressiveness.
Beckley looking to run. This is one of the things that Coach Mill Bushy told us, one of the options that he gives, and there's a late flag.
Well, we may be setting a new record here for flags. I mean, what do we got? About 5 out of 6 plays we see yellow.
Yep. And that's going to be, I believe, a late hit on the Bulldogs. So we're going to start marching the other way.
I think the referees have gained more yardage in this game than either team.
Oh, I agree.
Well, update from the Southwestern Dover game. It's no score in that ball game. Berwanger tried a 43-yard field goal for Southwestern. With the wind, had the distance, but was wide. 8 minutes left in the first quarter from Dover.
Well,
we're now having a seminar, is what we're having on.
I'm clueless, Craig. I really am. I think what they're doing here is trying to determine whether this is going to be a first down or not when they attack the 15 yard zone. Hey, this is new to me.
That was the double reverse measurement? Is that what that was?
Yes. This is a new style of measuring. Maybe they'll ask the players what they think.
I don't think they have a clue either what's going on. I can't wait for this explanation.
Good ball. Personal foul. Second down.
Okay, second down and about a yard. I still don't know what that whole exercise was about, but
well, if it was a roughing,
it was a late hit.
You're going to take it. You're going to take it.
Right.
Well, what's the decision? You're going to take it.
And we're still discussing. Okay, well, now they moved a little closer to the yard marker, so it's going to be third down. And how about next Friday night?
Hey, how about next Friday night?
We're going to go over to Central to take on, see the Spring Grove Rockets take on the Central Panthers in our season finale. Pre-game begins at 7, and our kickoff here on Cable 4 at 7:30. Third down and 1. Stewart looking to throw, has a receiver wide open. It's Brock Bowser at the 10, and he's going to go in for the York Suburban touchdown. Third down, less than a yard.
Like the call.
Yeah.
Like the call. It's a great call. You've got to figure they're going to go for the first down. You got to figure it's going to be a run. Stewart's your main man, and he becomes the passer. And I'll tell you what, the only guy who obviously his legs did not fall asleep during that officiating delay was number 28 for the Trojans, Brock Bowser.
And Stewart, there you get a look at him, and he is the Suburban backup quarterback, so obviously you can see that he would be a capable fill-in if ever needed. And Stewart to Bowser, the extra point, and Suburban with 5:06 to go here in the first quarter leads it 7-0.
Absolutely remarkable. You're not going to get much more open than that. The defense really bit on the run. Watch this. Stewart's out here. You see Beckley. He knows the receiver's open, and now it's just a matter of, come on, Stewart, get the ball there. And this is a good pass. He catches him in stride. Pretty good pursuit here. I thought with maybe another 10 yards there was a shot for Gary Johnson to get him, but there was no way. He closed a little bit, but Brock Bowser running away from him. And actually, Stewart threw that football into the wind. The wind blowing from a in a southwesterly direction, and
he threw it about 45 yards in the air.
Right, and in terms of your viewing on the screen with Suburban moving left to right, he was throwing into the wind.
So Suburban strikes first. 4 plays on the scoring drive, 78 yards, 2:24 off the clock, and the 56-yard touchdown halfback option pass from Matt Stewart to Brock Bowser, and the extra point makes it 7-0. Scoring drives brought to you today by the Sega Channel. Richard Sneeder to kick it off again, and this one boomed over the receiver's head and into the end zone, where it will be a touchback and come out to the 20-yard line.
Chris, if I can finish a thought on that halfback option pass, you think West York's defense has their problems defending the pass today. Imagine this. Jackson, Stewart, and Evans are the top 4 receivers, and who catches the first touchdown pass? Brock Bowser. So now they have a 5th headache to worry about.
Yeah. Well, now West York needs to bounce back here. See if they can put something together. Again, the 3 wide receiver look. Sam Miller in motion. The fake to Miller. Shannon Brooks still has it, being chased out of the pocket. On the run, and incomplete.
Boy, I'll tell you what, it looked like the defense was on his shoulders before the ball got there, but no call by the official.
Well, the West York coaching staff has another thought on that one, that's for sure.
Shannon Brooks showing good poise, either on the rollout or when he's pressured out of the pocket. He really waits till he feels he's got something going, and I think he had an opportunity to complete that pass, but not to be.
So it's 2nd down and 10 there. You get a look at it again, and I think one thing West York doesn't want to do, though, Craig, is get into a situation where they're throwing every down, and that's sort of what looks like may happen here on this series. Oh, the delay give to Sheridan some running room up the middle. Bounces off a tackler and gets it out across the 25.
Pretty good collision there, too, with Matt Stewart. So Matt Sheridan on Matt Stewart, 1-on-1.
Out to the 27, it's going to be a 6-yard gain, so 3rd down and 4 for West York. And you'd really, even though it's 3rd and 4, you pretty much figure this is a passing situation.
If you're wondering that term, the flex end, that's Gary Johnson, and he splits out number 82 away from the tackle. Gives him one more passing option.
The quick down and out. Complete to Ignatius Musty, and it's going to be close to a 1st down. It is a 1st down.
Yeah, good job that time. He caught the ball on the far side of the 30-yard line, and the marker was dead on the 30-yard line, so when he came down, it was a 1st down for the Bulldogs.
Nose of the football out to the 31-yard line. You see Ignatius Musty with 9 catches thus far this year. Counter give this time. It's Kevin Myers, and Myers with some running room out to the 35.
Chris, another update with 4 minutes left in the first quarter. Southwestern leads Dover 7-0. Alt on a 2-yard run. The point after was good, so the Mustangs up 7 on the Eagles in that critical Division I matchup.
What an impressive runner Sean Alt is for the Mustangs. Really a tough runner, and one of the guys that gets the tough yardage inside is he got the 2-yard, I'm sure, an inside the tackles kind of run for the Southwestern score. And we're told from the truck there were 3 turnovers in the first minute of that Southwestern Dover game.
Big game jitters?
Yep, little nerves.
Little extra moisture on the field from last night and big game jitters.
Second down.
And West York with another false start, and boy, the penalty bug really hurt the Bulldogs.
Yeah, both teams, primarily West York, but both teams have got to try to cut down on the yellow flag in this game. It's really not allowing either team to get into a great rhythm.
Second down and 10. Shannon Brook looking deep, underthrows it. Chronister there for the York Suburban interception right at midfield as the ball was well underthrown, and Brian Faulkner, the intended receiver, slipped and fell.
Boy, Chronister, you talk about receivers making great adjustments on the football. In this case, Chronister's with the receiver, and he makes a great adjustment as the defensive back. And keep in mind, he is a receiver on offense. Drew Chronister coming back and adding to that turnover takeaway ratio that is so positive for York Suburban this year.
The 49-yard line is the mark. York Suburban with the lead, and they have the football back. And right away, look at this, Craig. Mike Beckley goes into shotgun formation. Looking for Chronister, and overthrown. Musty there on the defensive coverage for West York.
It's interesting when we alluded to the fact that Brock Bowser became kind of a fifth cog in the wheel, fifth headache for the Bulldogs. Keep in mind, when we talk about those top 4 receivers, Brock Bowser, we didn't even include Chronister, who's a great athlete, good basketball player, and it's good to see him throw the ball to him there. So 6 weapons coming at you, in rotation. So Trojans got a lot going for them in the passing game this year.
Second down and 10. Beckley keeps. Boy, makes one nice cut and gets it out across midfield and down to the West York 42. That'll be about a yard shy of a first down.
And with Mike Beckley's ability to run, that, as you see here, he just a keeper. He gets a good block right there on the corner to cut up. But it gives them a whole dimension because the field gets so spread because of their receivers and their wideouts that it actually gives more room to maneuver to the running backs and the quarterback on the option.
Third and less than a yard. Remember what they did on third and short the last time, the halfback option touchdown, and Beckley's going to keep, and he's going to have a first down as he dives across the 40.
Pretty quick.
Yeah.
Pretty quick to the line of scrimmage, and to make sure, thought a very heady play for a sophomore quarterback. His intent on that play, he would like to break the big one, but his intent was to make sure that the Trojans secured the first down. Watch this. He's got just a little fake, but he's got 2 lead blockers in Dan Evans and Matt Stewart. And he makes sure that he leaps across that first down marker to get the first down for York Suburban.
Beckley in the shotgun once again. You see Matt Stewart in motion toward us. Beckley looking toward a wide open Zach Jackson. Breaks a tackle down inside the 5 to about the 2. And I don't know, Craig Smith, how a guy like Zach Jackson can get that wide open.
It's absolutely remarkable. He runs good patterns. Last week he caught 7 passes for 126 yards, 2 touchdowns, and a 2-pointer. And last week was Jackson's 7th career game of 100-yard receiving or better. And he's got a real shot at it here today to add number 8. Can you imagine having a quarterback graduate on you like Eric Weinrich and have the fortunes of having a Mike Beckley step in?
Yeah, absolutely. And Stewart, boy, look at that surge on the left side for a York Suburban touchdown. Matt Stewart went in untouched, and the Trojans extend their lead to 13-0.
I mean, that was a very well-thrown football to the outside to Zach Jackson. The coverage was not tight, but the point is that Beckley's getting the protection and he's delivering the football.
Well, and I think the interesting comment before the game that Coach Milt Bushy made as we look at the extra point attempt, and that one is pulled and is no good, but still Suburban leads at 13-0. But Coach Milt Bushy made the comment and really stunned both of us, Craig, in the fact that he thought Mike Beckley maybe, and we'll never know, may have been able to beat out Eric Weinrich anyhow
well,
this year.
I think he would have felt he had the blessings of 2 great quarterbacks that were going to challenge each other. And when you have, it's tough to come up with 1 great quarterback in high school or on the college level. but he felt he had two guys, and with the difference being Beckley maybe a little bit better runner, but Beckley showing some great throwing skills here today.
5 plays and 51 yards after the Drew Conister interception. Matt Stewart with the easy 2-yard run. The point was missed, but it's York Suburban 13, West York nothing. A minute 27 to go, still here in the first quarter.
So Zach Jackson with the big catch to take him down close. And West York right now, again, Chris, you hear us say this a lot, not necessarily needing a score, certainly wanting a score, but needs to put together a sustained drive and build some confidence.
Sneeder with the kick, taken by Kevin Myers. Myers looking up the middle, trying to find a seam. Still on his feet, crosses the 35 out to the 36. Good return that time by Kevin Myers.
Chris, Gary Miller hands me an interesting stat with 1:20 to go in the first quarter. Would this satisfy you as a coach? Mike Beckley, well, I shouldn't say just Mike Beckley because Matt Stewart threw the touchdown pass. York Suburban, 3 for 4 passing thus far, 105 yards, 1 TD.
That's 35 yards a catch, isn't it?
It's 75% completion rate. Let's top each other with numbers. Stewart 1 for 1 and Beckley 2 for 3. So real strong start for the Suburban passing game.
Musty in motion. Counter give to Stewart, and boy, York Suburban just into the West York backfield. Andrew Lewis, Matt Stewart in on the tackle. And really, Craig, the wing T offense is predicated on blockers being able to hold their blocks, and it just appears as though West York's having a tough time doing that.
Well, again, you know, we've stressed, we've talked a lot about Suburban's offense early in the pregame and here. But again, let me continue with that interception by Drew Chronister. Their turnover takeaway ratio goes to +13, the best in the league.
2nd down 11. Good time this time, and across the field, Gary Johnson with the catch from Steve Shannonbrook, and that's where that 6'6" frame comes in handy. Shannonbrook saw Johnson cutting actually away from the flow of the play and hooked up with him for a nice gain. You know, if you're 5'10", even 6 foot, I don't know if you see Gary Johnson, Craig.
I agree. Right now, this is a time for the West York offensive line to step up. This is, I think, going to be critical for this first down. I believe they will keep it on the ground. And the West York offensive line, whether they do or whether they have to protect Shannonbrook one more time, has got to deliver here.
Right at the middle is Sheridan, and he has a first down.
They got some good initial blocks, and then Sheridan powered it through. So that's a big first down for West York. As I said, they've got to sustain a drive here, establish some confidence, and hopefully get a score. I'm sure Coach Terry Bupp's thinking that way.
Well, that's the end of the first quarter of action here from York Suburban. It's been all Trojans through one quarter. They lead it 13-0.
If you need a dependable used car or truck at a fair price, head to Red Lion Chevy Olds. All of our used vehicles have had a complete 27-point safety and mechanical inspection, as well as a complete cosmetic detail. And they all carry a limited bumper-to-bumper warranty. See us for your best deal. You'll be glad you did. We're just 6 miles south of high prices on...
Well, the West York Bulldogs have some making up to do as they go into the second quarter trailing York Suburban 13-0. Ball right at midfield, West York with a first down. Myers in motion, going to get the carry. Cuts it back to the inside, crosses the 45 down to about the 43. Leading the way was Josh Kramer, number 73.
And over the last couple plays, the West York offensive line stepping up. blocking better, allowing their backs an opportunity to get some positive yardage. I think the first quarter pretty much summed up with 2 stats. Let's take a look at this play one more time before we talk about them. Just a straight give here. Reading the hole, you see the pulling tackle coming across, getting a block. But the initial hole was very, very good.
West York up the middle, and having trouble really running straight up the middle. Not much there. The Suburban defense being pretty tough. Kyle Mullen, number 56, in on the tackle there.
In the first quarter, York Suburban had 127 total yards, 105 of those from passing. West York more balanced, but only 47 total yards, 20 on the ground, 27 in the air. And then after this play, I want to talk briefly about time of possession.
3rd down. And a yard to go. The fake. Shannonbrook still has it, being chased out of the pocket. He's going to have a first down. 35, and out of bounds at the 30. So another West York first down.
Right, and Shannonbrook chased down there by number 57, Joe Deal, or else he was going to get more yardage out of that scramble. In the first quarter, West York had the ball 7 minutes and 55 seconds to York Suburban's 4:05. But in that case, it's not how long you have it, it's what you do with it when you have the ball. The quick strike offense of Suburban taking hold.
There you see Shannonbrook on the run, and he knew at that point that he was easily going to be able to get the first down. Down to the 30. Sam Miller slips and falls behind the line of scrimmage. The first time today, really, that we've seen the footing have an effect.
Absolutely. They just never had an opportunity to get started there.
See the 6 foot, 165-pound senior halfback and outside linebacker, number 8, Sam Miller for West York. A little slow with the play coming in from the sideline. West York with a 2nd down and 11. How spread out this Suburban defense is, Craig. Anticipating this, the Shannonbrook throw, a lot of time across the middle, hits Gary Johnson on the crossing pattern, but he's brought down right at the original line of scrimmage.
Gary Johnson, the 5'10", 160-pound flanker and safety for the Bulldogs, a senior with just one more week to go in his career, as the Bulldogs will host York Catholic in what has been a pretty good rivalry over the years between their schools next week at West York to wrap the season for the Bulldogs.
3rd down and 10 for West York at the 29. Could be 2-down territory here. Shannonbrook, straight drop, good pass protection. Throws it across the middle, intended for Sam Miller, but thrown a little bit behind. And it's going to be incomplete and 4th down. The West York offense remaining on the field, so with 4th and 10 at the 29, the Bulldogs are going to go for it. Really don't have much to gain by punting the football here.
Hey, watch the man out of the backfield. Watch it out of the backfield. Right that way, standing.
Shannonbrook rolling. Still on his feet, has a receiver, but intercepted by Zach Jackson as he stepped in front of the intended receiver, Gary Johnson, for another York Suburban turnover.
Not only is York Suburban aggressive in going after the football offensively as receivers, Drew Chronister and Zach Jackson show that they can go aggressively after the ball as defensive backs. Watch him rotate up into the passing lane here. He's playing the offensive receiver, but he doesn't play the man. He plays the ball.
Right.
He takes that chance. It's a well-timed and a high percentage chance, but he rotates up and steals the ball for the 2nd time on Shannonbrook.
Really, that's the receiver in Zach Jackson sort of taking over when he sees the ball in the air.
It's mine. And, of course, the ball belongs to either the receiver or the DB at that point.
Matt Stewart on the pitch as York Suburban trying to dig themselves out of field position deep in their own territory. Looks like no gain on the play, so it'll be 2nd and 10 from about the 7.
I guess if you're an optimist and you're a West York fan, you say the only good thing about that interception was it acted like a deep punt in case we wouldn't have been able to advance the ball. Suburban pretty much back up against their own goal line, and if the West York defense can stop them here, then they're going to have an opportunity to get back that good field position.
Right, and that, again, a short gain, 3rd down, and we'll call it 8. And now it'll be interesting to see what kind of call is made on this play. Suburban on their own 8-yard line, so I don't know whether they're going to try and put the ball up in the air. This may be a situation where they go deep, Craig, and hope for the completion, but if an interception happens, same thing.
Same thing as a punt. The only thing, though, is they do have the wind with them, Chris, in this quarter.
And Beckley looks like he's going to run it, trying to get outside to the corner, and he's brought down well short of the 1st down. So the West York defense, after the turnover, holds and should give the ball back to their offense in good field position. 4th down and 6 for the Trojans. A low kick, and West York's going to let it bounce. Pretty good roll for York Suburbans. It rolls the whole way out to the 46-yard line, where West York will have it. Try to put some points on the scoreboard here, especially before halftime. They need to establish some kind of a drive, Craig, and then this broke the record. Craig, you want to talk about
this? Yeah, this makes Zach Jackson the all-time career reception leader. And what a great, not only great catch, but to break out of the tackle and get down inside the one, a real compliment to this kid as a receiver. And you don't get a chance to mount up those kind of numbers in any career.
Justin Wilkins, number 35, the ball carrier that time for West York, as he gets outside to the corner and gets a good gain on 1st down, a pickup of 6. So it'll be 2nd down and 4 for West York.
And of course that catch by Zach Jackson, which broke the record, was very instrumental in setting up the last touchdown.
Wilkins sidesteps the first tackler, but is brought down. 35, Matt Stewart, and number 89, Wilson Tarbert, in on the tackle. 3rd down and 3 for West York. Ball at the 39, almost the 38-yard line, and again.
This is a tough call for them here because they have shown the ability in this first half to run the ball recently, and yet it's a long 3.
Well, I'll tell you what, I kind of like Shannonbrook on the roll here and give them the option of running or throwing, and they have the wide side of the field to the top of the screen.
And he's shown the ability to throw well going that way.
And instead they give it to Sheridan, and Sheridan easily has a West York 1st down. So West York's been able to move the football here, Craig, but early in the game it was the penalty bug that was really hurting them, and then here in the 2nd quarter it's been the turnovers that have cost the Bulldogs. Gary Johnson in motion. The counter give fake. Shannonbrook still has it, has a receiver, and there's a flag that's going to fly. As Brian Faulkner was the intended receiver, and Zach Jackson that time got in there and made contact a little too early.
Well, it's a fine line between the receiver and going for that passing lane, and that time Zach Jackson, again, pretty aggressive. Here you see the throw by the 6'6" Shannonbrook, which even allows him to get it over the defensive rush. And that time it looked to me as though Jackson played the man much more than the ball. Southwestern continues to hold.
On the defense, automatic 1st down.
Southwestern continues to hold a 7-0 lead over Dover. And if I'm reading this correctly, there's been 8 fumbles in the game, 6 turnovers. Only 2 recovered. I'm not sure I'm interpreting that right, but it sounds like the ball's popping loose the way it did when we saw Southwestern against Central.
Kevin Myers, the ball carrier, and boy, Matt Stewart seems to be everywhere, especially on the defensive side of the football, Craig.
Well, he's a long-time performer here. Good athlete. Makes contributions on the hardwoods as well as the football field, and he's going to pretty much be in the middle of a lot of action.
No gain on the play, so 2nd down and 10 for the Bulldogs. Shannonbrook rolling, looking, and throwing behind Sam Miller, but once again a flag, this time back in the end zone.
I don't know if we're marking these penalties. There's got to be more penalties in this game than I've seen all year in a game. This is unbelievable. You figure by week 9, this kind of stuff's going to be minimal. I mean, that's the second offensive interference call I've seen in the game. How many times you see that call? Rarely.
I don't know if we've had it called at all this year, Craig.
Pass interference on the offense. Loss it down. 3rd down.
There's the killer on that one, the loss it down. That just makes it real tough.
So now it's going to be 3rd down, and we'll just say a long way to go for West York, about 25 yards. Straight drop by Shannonbrook. Here comes the pressure, setting up the screen to Myers, and he slips and falls. And that's really a shame for West York because it looked like the middle screen was set up pretty well. Look at this, a lot of blockers in front, Craig. Look at all the white shirts in front of him.
Oh,
just
man.
Slips and falls.
He looked like he had an Army escort to go down the field, and Sam Miller slipped about that same spot in the field just a little while ago, so it's starting to lead us to believe that there's a portion there about between the 50 and the 25 in the West York side of the field right now, that, or I should say, in the Suburban territory.
So West York uses a timeout when we have a chance. We have a score at halftime from Happy Valley, Penn State, leading Indiana by the score of 24-0, and not a surprise to most people.
Well, I said to you before this game, the only thing that would have made this day better for me, because I was ecstatic about being here in this beautiful weather for a Saturday afternoon game between these two teams, would be if the Penn State game came on at 3:30, and you said, don't worry about it. I think it's going to be pretty much a blowout. Thus far, it has been that. So we welcome the viewers from ESPN2 while they're breaking away at halftime to check out this high school game. Well, again, the clock just about at 4 minutes here to go in the first half, and the penalties have shifted the ball all around on this field, and this is going to be tough to try to get a first down here, but again, go for it because it'll be the same as a punt.
Here's the pressure, and Shannonbrook brought down back at the 45-yard line. Travis Stewart, number 38.
Boy, it's 6'2", 200 pounds. Travis Stewart, pretty big boy. I noticed him in the pregame workouts, and it looked to me like that was a delayed blitz. He didn't come at first. The defensive line hit in, and then he came real hard right up the gut, and he was able to take it away from Shannonbrook. So West York didn't even get the opportunity to throw deep, and even if it would be intercepted, same as a punt. So real positive play for the York Suburban defense there.
Beckley back in the shotgun, hits across the middle, and running room for Dan Evans. Breaks a tackle, still on his feet, and he's going to go all the way for a York Suburban touchdown. And that's just in case Craig Smith of missed tackles by West York.
That I'm sure Coach Terry Bupp is not going to be happy about that at all, because I'm not saying it was a good catch, good conceived play. Evans did a nice job as you take a look there with his 14 catches, but now 15 and the touchdown on that play. He had nice footwork, did the 6'2", 295-pound back, but he should have been taken down before he scored. And you figure they're going to go for 2 now to take it back up to 21-0 if they can, and if not, their defense will go back to work.
Well, you kind of look for Beckley to run the football here, Craig. That's what I would suspect. He's going to roll anyhow and has a receiver, but it is caught and Drew Chronister, Dan Evans, I'm sorry, brought down. Let me try it again. Travis Stewart brought down just inside the 1.
That looked like the 2-point conversion on the Notre Dame Army game where
Yeah.
the pass was caught on the rollout, but he did not cross the ball and break the plane of the goal line. The defensive back, or in this case the linebacker, was there. Watch this. There's a tackle that's missed. Just should have, there were guys that should have got to him and did not. So Dan Evans showing great footwork, and all credit to him for that catch and run.
And the 2-point conversion fails, but Suburban now leads it 19-0. 3:39 to go here until halftime. And you see after the 4th down sack of Shannonbrook, just one play, 24 seconds, and Evans with the touchdown catch from Mike Beckley.
So this is clearly one of those games, Chris Bupp, where at least thus far, time of possession has meant nothing.
Right. The big plays of York Suburban really have been the difference thus far. And West York has dug itself a hole that it's going to have a tough time climbing out of. Low squib kick taken by Jay Stein as he falls on it right at the 37-yard line.
You know, Chris, it should not be surprising to us that York Suburban has been so dominating in such a quick strike offense. They've thrown the ball coming into this game 210 times and completed 102. They have almost 1,400 yards passing coming into the game, averaging about 175 yards a game. And they are the #1 passing team in the league, not just Division II. Only Dover is second, and they're a distant second, averaging 121 yards per game passing.
Shannonbrook has a receiver, George Margitas, with the catch, and pickup of about 5 for West York. And that's what they're going to have to do, I think, with the pressure that Shannonbrook's getting, Craig. They're going to have to do a lot more of the short pass, quick release type routes. And there you see Margitas, 5'10" senior.
Well, they have the ability to do it. If you talk about pass offenses in the league, Division I and Division II, West York is number 5. So it goes Suburban, Dover, New Oxford, Central, and West York.
Straight drop again by Shannonbrook. Looking across the middle, has a receiver. Nice grab that time by Ignatius Musty.
That was a beautiful throw.
Right, and a good catch, too.
That was really thrown as a rope, a frozen rope to the receiver. I mean, nice form by Shannonbrook. Ball was thrown hard, and then Musty made a good catch. That ball was zinging in there. Look at that form. He releases the ball. He's got great speed. Nobody can close on it. The best they can do is contain the receiver once he catches it.
West York all throw now, and again another great throw, this time again to Margitas, and another West York first down. And I think if you give Shannonbrook time in that pocket, he can be an effective thrower.
And I think he proved that on the last 2 plays. He got enough time to get his regular throwing motion. One, he threw, you know, a little bit high to Musty to make sure he could go up and get it. That time he got it down where it was protected, and nobody's been able to close on his last 2 passes.
Suburban blitzing this time, coming back to meet the passes Ignatius Musty again, and he makes another catch.
And Chris, it wouldn't surprise me if Terry Bupp, his head coach, who was a fine quarterback at York High, didn't talk to him about that, because the 2 interceptions I thought kind of hung up there and allowed the defense to close on the passing lane. These last 3 passes have been thrown with authority.
And that's a pickup of 5. So 2nd and 5, the clock approaching a minute and a half, down to 1:35 right now.
Hey, it's short enough for cookies on the side. Go. You're getting too much to it.
Boy, Suburban blitzing almost every time, Craig, and that pass just over the outstretched hand of Sam Miller. Suburban bringing those linebackers just about every play.
You're right, 3 black shirts, and not only that, it looks like they've been well schooled this week in the height of Steve Shannonbrook, those guys who may not have gone up against him last year, because you'll see just as he releases the ball, everybody's up in the air with their hands up to try to get a deflection or a block.
3rd down and 5 for West York. Shannonbrook across the middle, has a receiver. It's Sam Miller, and another West York 1st down.
Well, not only is Shannonbrook throwing the ball better, his receivers seem to be catching with authority as well. Confident. You know, they're not hearing footsteps. Sam Miller here, he knows he's going to get whacked, and Jackson takes a piece of him, but he doesn't drop the ball, and he makes a good catch.
Out to the sideline to Brian Faulkner, and he steps out of bounds after picking up about 5 or 6.
This is a very impressive drive.
Right. Faulkner with almost 13 yards per catch. And it's going to be 2nd down at the 6-yard line, 2nd down and 5. So the Bulldogs can get a 1st down without scoring a touchdown here.
Stay with us at halftime, not only for halftime statistics, but the halftime performance of the West York Bulldog Marching Band.
Shannonbrook on the roll, being chased from behind and brought down.
Big play by Dan Evans.
Dan Evans on the tackle, and that is a big play. And now West York, I believe, is going to use another timeout, as here you see Evans chasing Shannonbrook down.
Got him around the waist, and once he had him there, it was a little too risky for Shannonbrook just to put the ball up. So he did the smart thing by taking the sack and giving his team another opportunity to score. But Suburban defense that has been pretty tough throughout the first part of this ball game, and basically tough all year when you look at that turnover takeaway ratio.
So 58 seconds to go, and it's going to be 3rd and 10. And how about the 1995 Easter Seal Telethon right here on WSPC Cable 4, Saturday, December 2nd, noon to midnight. I get glued to that thing, Craig. I start watching that, and I can't turn away. I really like the telethon. I think it's well done, and obviously benefits a good cause.
Absolutely. So tune in on December 2nd, and not only tune in, but make your contributions to the Easter Seal Society. Well, big boost for the Bulldogs if they can take it in here. Big boost for Suburban if they can stop them.
Here comes the pressure, and Shannonbrook again nailed back at about the 19 this time. And
well, I think it's pretty clear what the defensive philosophy of Suburban is here early. Let's not give this guy time, because when he gets it, he's real good. No quarterback can pass when he's got 3 or 4 defenders all over him. Look at this. 1, 2, and 3 on the way. Man, 1 high, 1 low. So 48.0 seconds and 1 down to try to knock it in here.
West York, as you mentioned, Craig, impressive in this drive until they get down in here the red zone, and then the Suburban defense has really tightened up. The blitz has come up the middle, and that time it came from every direction, really. Now, not an easy call on 4th and goal from the 19th.
It's a tough one.
I always think you got to roll Shannonbrook out to try and get him out of the way from the pressure.
With the way the pressure has been, yes. Now on this particular play, maybe they'll take it off. So it's really a guessing game between the offensive coordinator of West York and the defensive coordinator of Suburban. Because when Shannonbrook has been left in the pocket, you know, he threw that really sharp strike to Musty, and I don't know. It's a tough one. You got to throw it. Got to throw it in the end zone and take your chances.
Well, here comes the pressure, and they're going to get him again.
Unbelievable. I would have never thought they could get to him that consistently, but boy, they have come really hard, led by Travis Stewart. He's having a great game defensively, but there were other defenders in here. Watch this. Everybody just keeps coming. 75, Andrew Lewis. 49, Dan Evans. Or as they used to say in the old days of radio, a host of tacklers.
Well, the Bulldogs had it down to the 5-yard line, and they give it back to York Suburban the whole way out to the 26. So now I'm sure Suburban will just keep it on the ground as they give it to Matt Stewart. 8 inbounds. And I guess the Trojans are going to call a timeout. With 20 seconds to go, the coaching staff quickly asking for a timeout.
Well, they know they can strike quickly, as they did on that pass to Evans and others, obviously to Brock Bowser as well, so they might as well take one final shot at it. Let's give you an update here. Dover down 7-0 at halftime to Southwestern in that big Division I matchup. Berwager missed a field goal of 34 yards before the half came to an end. So 7-0, the Mustangs over Dover. They win Division I, and they remain undefeated and at the top of our WSBC Cable 4 York poll. Dover wins. There's a tie in Division I, and I guess the edge would go to the Eagles for beating Southwestern in head-to-head competition.
Second down, Beckley into shotgun formation. He's going to give it a try. Looking across the middle to Jackson, and you won't see that too often, Craig. In and out of the hands of Zach Jackson.
Yeah, and I'm not taking the side of the receiver over the quarterback. It looked slightly behind. He had to kind of reach back to get it, but there's been many times where he's had to reach back slightly to get it that he catches it. So timing just off slightly on that play.
That's almost a catch. A guy like Zach Jackson, you almost anticipate that he's going to catch that ball.
It's one of the scoreboards that shows us tenths of a second as well. So
third down and 4, and right up the middle is Evans. A lot of running room. Crosses the 45 out to the 48, and again, York Suburban screaming for a timeout, which I think may be their last timeout, with 8.3 seconds remaining.
Well, once again, stay with us at halftime. We are anticipating a fine halftime performance of the West York Bulldog Marching Band as they congregate in the northwest corner of Dick May Field. And in addition to that, our halftime statistics, Gary Miller and Bo Rule putting those numbers together to try to give you the factual picture of what happened during this first half. But probably one and maybe 2 more plays left for this high strike offense of the York Suburban Trojans.
Now, the one thing you got to remember here, Craig, is that if Suburban can throw the ball for a first down, the clock automatically stops to reset the change. So possibility the Trojans can get 2 plays off here. Back up under center is Beckley. Jackson in motion. Looking to throw all kinds of time. Now being chased out of the pocket. Throwing deep for Jackson. And incomplete as the clock runs out. So that'll be the end of the first half of action here from York Suburban. The Trojans and their quick strike offense lead the West York Bulldogs 19-0. Garden spot right there. Dover and New Oxford both with a chance, but I think Dover is going to have to come back and defeat Southwestern today to remain in that District 3 AAA hunt.
Right, and I know Manheim Central won in the mud last night.
AA, well, there you see Bishop McDevitt. They're definitely the class of AA. Cocalico's still undefeated. And then quite a few teams fighting it out for those final 2 spots, including York Suburban. But the Trojans are going to need a lot of help to get into one of those final 2 playoff spots. Single A is where York County is going to be represented. And you see Hanover and DeLone both right there, both with excellent opportunities to move into the district playoffs, trailing that group from Scotland. Boy, they're there every year too, Craig. And but it looks like York County will be well represented in single A.
The downside of that single A, if we can keep that up just for a moment, would be if those point standings remain the same, Hanover is the 2 seed, DeLone is a 3 seed, would play each other.
Right.
The upside of that, the people in the Hanover area would love it.
Yeah, that's for sure.
That would be a huge, huge first round game.
So we'll have to keep our eye on the district points race, and obviously we want to wish all the York area teams that get into the district playoffs the best of luck. Well, there we are, high above the...
Hi, Mom.
high above the stands here.
Boy, I'll tell you, the bucket truck is way up there today. They're outside the fence area, but close to the refreshment stand.
Yeah, how convenient, huh? Well, West York will kick it off. Gary Johnson set to kick. Zach Jackson and Brock Bowser back deep for York Suburban. Evans takes it. The up back. Makes one cut and is brought down as he crosses the 30-yard line, where the Trojans will put it in play. And with a 19-point lead, you know, Craig, Suburban was pretty open with their offense in that first half. It'll be interesting to see if they remain that open or if they go maybe a little more conservative here in the second half.
We'll see. And almost on cue, much as pregame, the sun came out just as the second half kickoff was made. So a very blue, very color-oriented fall day here. The last weekend of daylight saving time.
Out of the shotgun to give to Evans. Boy, he's got some running room if he can beat Myers. And a flag slides at the line of scrimmage. A fumbled in there late.
Well, why should that change to start the third quarter?
Yeah, that's for sure. I think we got a hold on York Suburban, and we'll have to check that. But it looked like they were holding on the end, trying to seal it for Evans to get around the corner. And that's what it was. There you see Evans' number, 6.5 yards per